Okay, today's lesson is supposed to be surface area of a cylinder, but before we start cylinder, I would like to do a question on trapezoidal with missing length. Now, when you look at this trapezoidal, there is an X on that diagram, so that's a missing side, right? So we need to find X unknown side first before we can find a surface area. So let's have a look at finding X here. I'm looking at the front part of the trapezoidal prism, which is trapezium. If I sketch this, how are we going to find the X here? We can't find the X with trapezium, but if I draw a line, this magical line will separate this trapezium into two shapes. So you can see it's separated into two shapes. One is rectangle. This is rectangle. And this is my right-angled triangle. Okay. Now, with the right-angled triangle, any missing parts, we can use Pythagoras to find unknown side. I am going to draw that right-angled triangle again here. Now remember, this side is same as this one, so it's going to be 24. Now we need to work it out, this part, okay, the base. But it's easy in a way because we know that this is going to be 14, right, same as the top, and the whole thing is 32. So here we can say 32 take away 14 will give me the measurement for the base of triangle, okay, 18. So my measurement here is 18. So I've got two sides and one side is unknown. Now that X is hypotenuse, isn't it? Because it's the longest side of right angle triangle, and also it's opposite to the right angle, so it's hypotenuse. When we're working out the hypotenuse, X square equals, added up at the two shorter side squared. Okay, so 24 squared plus 18 squared by Pythagoras theorem. Okay, now I want to know what X is. I don't want to know what X square is, but I want to know what X is. So it's going to be square root of the whole thing. So when you do that, you will get 30. Now, because this prism didn't have any measurement, particular measurement, so I'm going to call it units. This X is sorted, isn't it? So now it's 30 here. I think we can now find B, okay, the surface area. Before we start surface area, what do? We want to know how many faces this trapezoidal prism has. It's 6, isn't it? Second step, we need to know our shapes and formulas. First shape I have, I'm going to go with the front and the back, which is a trapezium. There's two trapeziums in the front and the back. So I'll go front and the back is trapezium. Two of them, so I'm going to do double. Okay. So what is the formula? We got half because trapezium looks like a part of triangle. So we're going to have half times, and trapezium has two bases, top base and the bottom base. So when I look at this trapezium here, I have 14 is my top base and 32 is my bottom base. And what is my height? My height is in the between two bases and it's perpendicular to both of them. So that's my 24. And let's not forget doubling because there are two trapeziums. If I calculate all that, I will have 1,104 unit squared, okay, square units, because it's area. And then I'm going to go one by one because all the rectangles around trapezium will be different. So I need to go one by one. So I'm going to go with my left first, left rectangle, which is on the this one. That's my left. Okay. So I'm going to just actually sketch this so you can see what I've done. So I'm looking at 30 and 17 as my measurement for this rectangle. Area for this will be base times height, which is just 17 times 30, or you could do 30 times 17, it doesn't really matter. And that will give me 510 square units. Now I'm going to go with my right, which is on this side, but you just can't see very well. Now I'm going to sketch my rectangle on the right. Okay, so that was my left. My right, this 17 length is the same as on here. That's a 17 as well. Okay, so that means this is my 17 here. And then I have the height is this side, which is 24. Okay, so that's my 24. And so therefore, my area for my right hand side rectangle is 17 times 24, which is 408 square units. We've done the left, we've done the right, and 2 more to go because there's a 6 faces. We've done 4. So it's going to be top and the base, the bottom. So top one is right here. If you can see the shading part right now. So I'm going to draw that rectangle right there. So what I've got is that 17 here is same as up here 17. So it's going to be 17 here. And the base here is 14. Okay, so that's my 14. So the area for my top rectangle is 17 times 14. If you put that in your calculator, you'll get 238 square units. The last one is our base, the bottom rectangle. So that is this part. If you can follow the highlights. So my base and the height is 17 and 32. So I could just write 32 and 17 here. And my area will be 17 times 32, which is 544 square units. Okay, so I can see areas for all 6 faces. So now the step 3 is to find total area, surface area equals, I'm going to add all those areas together. So 1104 plus 510 plus 408 plus 238 plus 544. When you put all that in your calculator, you will get 2,804 square units. Okay, any questions, guys?
Can you walk me through it again?
Okay, so first, Emily, first we found unknown side, the x. That was this one. We didn't know. Okay, so what I've done was I put that trapezium, I sketch it separately, and I separate it into 2 shapes. Now, when I separated 2 shapes, the trapezium becomes rectangle and triangle. Okay, so the missing part we had is the triangle part, this part. Then what I've done is I sketch this part only, like this here right now, to find the missing part, which is the x. Okay, so I know that this triangle has the length of 24 because it's the same as this one. And to find this one, we had to investigate it a little bit, which is, I know that its top bit is 14, so it has to be 14 down here because it's a rectangle. And the whole bottom was 32 here, okay? 32. So part of 32 is 14. So what will be the other part? It'll be 32 take away 14, which is 18. So that's what I've got 18 here. Now I've got 24 and 18 for this right angle triangle, and it's going to be easier to find x now because we can use Pythagoras Theorem. Okay, now the x is hypotenuse, so you need to add the numbers together. We want just x, we don't want to be x squared, so we're going to do square root of the sum of the two shorter sides squared. So when we do that, you will get 30. Okay, so the x, length of the x become 30 here. Okay, 30. So now for my trapezium, I have the length of all the lengths that I need. So I'm just going to draw this again. So it'll be 14 on the top, 30 on the side, 32 on the bottom, 24 on the right. So that's what I've got, okay? And that 30 will help us to find area of the rectangle on the left-hand side, okay? This part. So the next step was to find all the areas of faces. There's 6 faces, and what we've done was first I've done the front and the back faces, which are trapeziums, and there are 2 of them. And the area for trapezium, half times the top base and the bottom base, and the times the height and double it. Okay, and that's what you're gonna get from your calculator. After you've done the area of trapeziums, you can do all the rectangles because all the surrounding faces of the trapezium are rectangles. Now I'm going to go all around starting from my left hand side, and then I went to the right hand side and the top and the bottom. Okay, so you really need to be careful about all the measurements. You need to collect all the correct measurements of rectangles in this trapezoidal prism. Is that okay, Emily?
Yeah.
Only thing was that we had unknown, isn't it? So we have to find the x first. To find the x, we have to use a Pythagoras. That was a tricky part. Okay, so this will be one of the challenge questions in the exam. Now, surface area of cylinder. We've done the prism. It's like a prism with a circle in it. Okay, remember we had a different names for perimeter for circle. We call it circumference. So this is like another name for circular prism. We call it cylinder. That's all. It is still like prism. So that means it has a flat faces on the top and the bottom. And it just happened to be that flat shape is a circle. Now, this is the normal cylinder that you will find. And when I open this cylinder, say if I cut it here, okay, and I cut the top and the bottom separately, the body, the middle part, the curved one, is the rectangle if you open it up, okay? And obviously the top and the base are going to be circles, okay? So this is what you're going to have to find the areas and add it all up to find the surface area. Really, surface area is what? 2 circles, isn't it? plus one rectangle. So if we can find the area of two circles plus area of the one rectangle, we can find the surface area of a cylinder. So we know area of circle. Remember, the formula is right up here, pi r squared. Okay, so pi r squared. So but two of them because there's two circles. Okay, so that's the area of the circle. And then plus one rectangle. Rectangle is what area of the rectangle is base times height. Now I'm looking at this rectangle here and the corner is right angle. So height is there, but what happens to my base? What is my base on here? Now I want you to think about this. If I roll up my rectangle around circle, it'll fit, wouldn't it? So it'll fit nicely like all around here. Yes? And that is same as my base, my length on the rectangle. Does that make sense, guys? Now that means my base is circumference of circle. Now circumference is 2 pi r. So my base of that rectangle is 2 pi r and the height is a h. So now I can write the area of rectangle. So base 2 pi r times height h. So the surface area of a cylinder, it sums up right here, is area of two circles, which is the 2 pi r squared now because it's two of them, plus area of rectangle, which is 2 pi r h because 2 pi r was our base, h was height. So that's the base times height. Okay, now let's do some examples. I'm just going to leave this summary. We just talked about that. Example 13. Find correct to one decimal place. Okay, that's the special condition we have to be careful about. One decimal place. The surface area, we need to find surface area of a cylinder, which is the formula. Area was 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay, and diameter d is 12 and the height h is 20. Okay, so I've got all the information I need. Now I can solve this question. So first step is always sketch the cylinder if it wasn't given to you in the question. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what kind of cylinder it is, just this normal cylinder with two circles and one curved body. Okay, and put the measurements in. Okay, and step 2 is collect all the measurements. Okay, what do I need? I need radius, I need height. If I want to use the formula, so let's write a formula first here. Surface area for cylinder was 2 pi r squared, that's for the two circles on the top and the bottom, plus the rectangle in the middle is 2 pi r h. Okay, so I need to know, as you can see, I need to know my radius and my height. The pi I don't need to know because it's a number. I can just put it in a calculator, so it doesn't really matter. My height was given here, wasn't it? 20 centimeters, so that's not a problem. Now, I wasn't given the radius, but I was given the diameter. Now, diameter is full of radius, so if I want to find the radius, I'll just have to halve it. So 12 divided by 2, it's 6 centimeters. First step, you sketch the cylinder and put all the necessary information they're given to you. And step 2, you have to collect all the measurements, which is radius and height. Now, step 3, use the formula, which is this, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh, to calculate the surface area. So I'm going to do that now. 2 times pi times r is my 6 squared, don't forget the square, plus, now this part is the rectangle part here, okay, just shading right now. That's 2 times pi times r, which is 6, times 20 for the height, okay. That, if you put that in your calculator, you will get 980.1769 ... but it says correct to 1 decimal place, so we need to answer the question correctly. So 980.2, because the second decimal place is bigger than 5, so it'll be 2, and my units is square centimeters because the surface area. All right, next question. Okay, this was given to us, diagram was given to us, so I don't have to sketch it. So 25 here, 25 units, because I don't have centimeters or anything. So 25 units is my diameter, isn't it? My diameter is 25 units. And this is my height, 15, because if I put this cylinder the other way and put it up, the 15 is my height. So I'm going to put h as my height, and then 15 is the measurement. Okay, so I've got that. Now, step 1, collect all the measurement, or I could just say find radius. So my radius will be half of diameter, so it'll be 25 divided by 2, 12.5 units. And then I have height as 15 units. And then surface area for cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. So let's put all the measurements into the formula. So the 2 circles first, 2 times pi times radius was 12.5 squared plus the rectangle part, 2 times pi times 12.5 times 15. Put all that in my calculator, I will have 2,159.844 ... and I want it to be in a 1 decimal place, so 2159.8, because 4 is less than 5, so I'm going to ignore it. And my units is square units. This question, the diagram wasn't given, so I need to sketch it. Doesn't really matter you sketch a cylinder on the vertically or horizontally, doesn't really matter. Let's have a look at the question. Calculate the surface area of a cylinder with diameter d equals 28 centimeters and height is 15. From here to here, the end is my height, isn't it? So I'm going to put 15 centimeters, okay? And from here all the way to the down, that's my diameter, which is 28 centimeters, okay? So, and that's my middle. After I've done that, step 2, we need to find the radius and the height. So the radius will be, the radius is half diameter, and diameter is 28.
14, because you would half the 28.
Excellent. So it's 14 centimeters. It's my height here, Mandy. Right
15.
there. Thank you. All right, Kirsty, can you please tell me the formula for the surface area of cylinder?
2 pi
Yeah.
r squared plus 2 pi r height.
Good job. Excellent. Now, Hannah, could you please put the numbers into this formula? 2
Okay.
times pi times,
Radius is 14 centimeters.
correct, so 14 squared, right?
Mhm.
Plus 2 times pi times, what was the radius again?
14 centimeters.
And then what's the height?
15 centimeters.
Excellent, good job. Now put all that in your calculator now. Exactly like this, what I've done here on your calculator, including the brackets and everything. 2,550, was it?
Yeah,
Point?
97.
Okay. When you say after point, you don't say 97 because it's not like 97. You say 973 dot dot dot. Is that right?
Yeah,
I want it to be in a 1 decimal place. How would you put it in? 2,550 point. Actually, that's not right, is it? Now, this is going to be tricky. Here is bigger than 5, so it's going to be rounded up here, don't you? Right? But that 9 becomes 10, isn't it? So we have to round it up again. Does that make sense? So what will be 1 decimal place? Hannah, do you want to have a go?
2550.9.
That will be a really good mistake. Have a look at it, Hannah. 7 is bigger than 5, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I rounded up to the next number, which happened to be 9. When you have another one on top of 9, it'll become 10, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So we can't write a 10. So the 1 goes on to the next one, which is 0 here, right?
So 2551.
Excellent. 1 point.
0.
0.
Alia, 0?
0.
Yes.
Yes.
Hannah, 0. Excellent. Good job. What a great teamwork there. So guys, it's going to be 0. I need to put 0 there because we want it to be in a 1 decimal place. Because if I don't put 0 there, it's going to be to the nearest square centimeter. Thank you. Okay, next one. Oh, this is good. It's already given us radius. So we don't need to work it out anymore. So it's already given to us. So my radius now R is 0.8 and my height is 2.35. Okay. Now I don't draw diameter, I just draw radius, which is 0.8 here. I'm going to ignore the units here, 0.8. My height is 2.35 meters. Okay, so that's not too bad. So I sketch this, collect all measurements. Really, it's just 2 measurements, isn't it? Radius and the height. That's all I need. My radius is 0.8 meters and my height is 2.35 meters. Okay. What is the formula, the surface area for a cylinder, please? 2 pi r squared.
2 pi r times height.
Yes. So 2 pi r h, yeah?
Yeah.
Do we add them or do we times them? What do we do in the middle?
We add them.
Thank you. So we add them. Now we're going to put all the measurements in there. So 2 times pi times, what's my radius, Mandy?
0.8.
Excellent, 0.8 squared, okay? So that's the first part. Second part, 2 times pi times, what's my R?
0.8.
And what's my H?
2.35.
35.
35.
Okay, okay, calculate it.
Done.
So what do you have on your screen?
I got 15.83362697.
Excellent, good job. Thank you very much. Now, Mandy, I want you to put this answer into 1 decimal place. What would that be, Mandy?
15.8.
Oh, beautiful. What's our units? Square meters. That's all for today's lesson. Well done, people.